And then you were talking about placing the trade.
Yeah.
Your the different levels. So what are the 3 levels that we're putting in there as information to place the trade?
So we call this the set method, SET, stop, entry, target. So you want to put your entry, if you're trading up, above that reversal candle, that confirmation candle. And you can call it reversal or confirmation. So you're looking for that, your entry to be above that candle.
And entry means when the market actually goes up there, you're now live in the trade.
You're live, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
So you've got your skin in the game, you've been entered into the market, your trade is now live. Your stop would be below that reversal candle, because you want to give it some space to breathe. And you're saying, right, if the market does go below that point, then take me out. And then your target would be at least 1 for 1. So whatever say your distance between your entry and your stop is 50 points, your target would have to be at least 50 points above that. And then ideally we want more, but that's going to be dictated by the support and resistance levels in the market.
Yeah. So we've talked a bit about them before. Do you want to go over support and resistance?
Yes. So support and resistance are basically ceilings and floors in the market. So they are where price has been before and we get a response. So if price is responding, say at 100 points above where your entry is, you aren't going to want to trade to 120 points because then you're pushing beyond that ceiling. You may want to trade to 80 points. So you've got a nice little buffer. You're not pushing the envelope too far. You're not being too greedy, but you can still get a nice amount of profit from your trade.
And how can you find those levels?
So you would look probably at the weekly initially, and you can also look at the daily. So just again, visual art. So when you look at your chart, where do you see multiple tests at a similar price level? So it doesn't have to be exact, but similar price area, probably within about 5 to 10, 15 points, depending on the size of the market. Where do you see spikes up, hit, move away, and then later on in the chart, it spikes up again, hits and moves away, and similarly on the downside.
Amazing. So that's how we place our pullback trades.
Yes, it is indeed.
And how much practice do you think someone needs to do on this before they can start actually live trading?
Very good question. And I'm going to throw that at you.
Oh.
How long did it take you?
I mean, the time is all warped now. But the way you guys teach it, you start immediately. Like as soon as you discover star trading, you're told to go on a chart and start having a look at levels.
Yeah.
So you're starting to learn automatically. And then it's just find a trend. See if you can find a trend. See if you can go back in the markets. And you just have the first bit of information. Can you get that zigzag pattern somewhere?
Yeah.
So because there's 5 or 6 criteria, right? You're not overloading us to start with. So it's find that trend and submit it to a mentor. And then come back again and start, getting into the course, getting into the learning and start adding things onto that and then start testing it, back testing it. So I think it took probably 3 months from start to live trading that strategy. The first month was learning. The second month was, start looking. And the third month was submitting loads of back testing, and it was group testing every week. Do maybe 8 or 10 example trades from the backtesting every week with feedback from Josh, who would then say, good trade, bad trade, good trade, bad trade, try this, tweak this, and you're getting better each time.
Yeah, it is that little step by step. So I think if people have never traded before and they've just heard me break down that strategy, they're probably like, oh my goodness, I don't understand any of that. There's no way you should be expected to understand any of that when you first hear it. And again, it's a visual thing. So just listening is a hard way to learn it, which again is why on Forex and 5 and on our mentorships, we make sure we have you practice it in that setting and give you feedback. But everyone is different. So some people pick it up super quick. Some people take a little bit longer. Our job as mentors is to help you at whatever pace you're at. And what I would say is people who tend to take a bit longer or find it harder, it's because they're doing exactly what you just said there. They're trying to master all the components in one go rather than just one thing. I mean, there's a lesson for life in there, I think. But if they just mastered that one thing, so we always focus, nail the trends, identify the trends, get good quality trends, then we'll move on to the next bit, then we'll move on to the next bit. And things like the MACD are actually super simple because it's just, is it moving up? Is it moving down? Although it sounds what it is quite complicated, visually it's very, very simple.
It's a bar chart.
It's a bar chart at the end of the day.
And actually for all 3 strategies that I've learnt, I thought I was ready before Josh did.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, okay, I've submitted 30. I'm seeing Josh on the group coaching today. I think I've nailed it.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, this is looking good. Very enthusiastic. He's like, just do one more week for me. Just look at a few more markets.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be ready next week.
Yeah.
And I'm really driven. I'm really impatient. I was like, okay, yes, Josh, you're right. Yeah,
and
sure.
cursing him.
Yeah. But then the next week, I'm like, actually, you were right.
Yeah.
You were completely right. I needed another week.
Yeah.
So
And it solidifies the learning, and that's the really important thing. It's like there's a reason why when you learn to drive a car, technically you can drive the car, but are you really going to be safe on the road? There's a different level of kind of mastery and competency that you kind of have to really be safe and understand what you're doing. Which is why we tend to push people a little bit longer rather than super quick.
Yeah.
Because although it would sound great, I was trading live in 2 weeks. Is that really the best thing for our students? Probably not.
No.
Probably not. But one thing I will say as well about these strategies, like we say, we test them. So when we originally were teaching pullbacks, we didn't trade off of the 8 moving average. We actually traded off the 21 moving average. And we just noticed over time, again through testing, through our live trading, that the 21 moving average pullbacks weren't working as effectively as they used to. So we changed it up. We looked at what else we could do. We tested a new strategy, and we found that when we traded off of the 8, we had a higher trade frequency, which meant we had more profitable trades, which when I first started 10 years ago wasn't the case. So that's because market conditions change. And I think one thing which is really super important is that what we're doing at Star Trading is not just giving you components of strategies and saying, right, go and do it. We're teaching you how to adapt and evolve those strategies over time, because that is what's going to keep people successfully trading for the rest of their lives versus just buying a strategy off the shelf. So if someone was to take the strategy we just talked about now and trade it, brilliant, you'll have success if you learn how to master it correctly, because that's also a different component if you master it correctly. But in the next few years, will that continue to work in the way that it is? I don't know. What I do know is that we will, in Star Trading, be knowing what is working, knowing what isn't working, and our students will be totally safe, and we'll teach them the new way.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear you say that, because people could go and trade this strategy now. But I remember in some of our group coaching sessions, a lot of it is subjective and up to the trader. Like, people would ask Josh, well, is this candle, the correct, just the correct weighting, and what should my risk reward be if the level of support is down there? Should I go all the way to it, or should I just go up to here? And he was saying, well, what does everyone else think? And everyone else had a different opinion of where to put that. And to go through the group coaching process and to hear different perspectives and tweak it each time is really good.
Yeah, it's very, very helpful. And that's why we cap our small groups to 4 people on mentorships, but also why we have small group mentorship, because people ask questions that you don't think of. It's a really good way. It's a more rounded learning experience. So we love it for that reason.
Yeah, and people were submitting trends that I wouldn't have submitted, or the other way around.
Yeah.
And you can, that's a trend as well, actually, maybe if I used it that way.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yeah. We've recently done a massive piece of work, and that sounds like a negative thing, doesn't it? You're right, old piece of work. I know. We've done a massive piece of research. There we go. Basically going into our data and looking at our data and looking at how our strategies perform. And we're actually going to be releasing that in a masterclass, an online reveal, in the next couple of weeks, actually. So yeah, definitely some point in March we'll be releasing it. So I can give you a little sneak peek into the pullback though.
Yes, please.
So from our data, so we know that there's no such thing as a 100% winning strategy. With our strategies, because of the way we manage our risk and we stay safe and we maximize our profit potential, even if you're only winning 60% of the time, well, even if you're only winning 55% of the time, you're still in a profitable place. But we found with the pullback strategy, the way that we've adapted it to where it is now, you're looking at about an 80% win percentage, which is actually crazy. It's really, really good. And a lot of our students are making 5% per month just off of pullbacks as well, which is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, when you add in our other strategies, the results get even better, but you have to come to the session for that.
Yeah. So you've always traded pullbacks?
Always, yeah. It's the first one I learned.
You're a fan.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Yeah. But like I said, when I started 10 years ago, I was trading off the 21, but it's gradually evolved. And you can still trade off the 21. You just don't get as much trading opportunity when you do that.
So do you do a bit of both now?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.